The Gate of the Hundred Sorrows by Rudyard Kipling. If I can attain heaven for a pice, why should you be envious? Opium smokers proverb. This is no work of mine, my friend Gabriel Misquitter. The half-caste spoke it all between moonset and morning 6 weeks before he died, and I took it down from his mouth as he answered my questions, so. It lies between the coppersmith's gully and the pipestem seller's quarter, within 100 yards too. As the crow flies of the mosque of Wazir Khan, I don't mind telling anyone this much, but I defy him to find the gate however well. He may think he knows the city, you might even go through the very gully it stands in 100 times, and be none the wiser. We used to call the gully of the black smoke, but its native name is altogether different of course. A loaded donkey couldn't pass between the walls, and at one point just before you reach the gate, a bulged house front makes people go along all sideways. It isn't really a gate though, it's a house. Old Fung Teaching had it first 5 years ago. He was a bootmaker in Calcutta. They say that he murdered his wife there. When he was drunk, that was why he dropped Bazaram, and took to the black smoke instead. Later on he came up north, and opened the gate as a house where you could get your smoke in peace and quiet. Mind you, it was a pucker, respectable opium house, and not one of those stifling, sweltering shandukhanas that you can find all over the city. No, the old man knew his business thoroughly, and he was most clean for a Chinaman. He was a one-eyed little chap, not much more than 5 feet high, and both his middle fingers were gone. All the same, he was the handiest man at rolling black pills I have ever seen. Never seemed to be touched by the smoke either, and what he took day and night and day was a caution. I've been at it 5 years, and I can do my fair share of the smoke with anyone, but I was a child to Fung Teaching. That way all the same, the old man was keen on his money, very keen, and that's what I can't understand. I heard he saved a good deal before he died, but his nephew has got all that now, and the old man's gone back to China to be buried. He kept the big upper room where his best customers gathered, as neat as a new pin in one corner. Used to stand Fung Teaching's jostle, most as ugly as Fung Teaching, and there were always sticks burning under his nose, but you never smelled 'em when the pipes were going thick. Opposite the joss was Fung Teaching's coffin. He had spent a good deal of his savings on that, and whenever a new man came to the gate, he was always introduced to it. It was lacquered black with red and gold writings on it, and I've heard that Fung Teaching brought it out all the way from China. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I know that if I came first in the evening, I used to spread my mat just at the foot of it. It was a quiet corner, you see, and a sort of breeze from the gully came in at the window now. And then besides the mats there was no other furniture in the room, only the coffin, and the old joss, all green and blue and purple with age and polish. Fung Teaching never told us why he called the place the Gate of the Hundred Sorrows. He was the only Chinaman I know who used bad-sounding fancy names. Most of them are flowery, as you'll see in Calcutta. We used to find that out for ourselves. Nothing grows on you so much if you're a white as the black smoke. A yellow man is made different. Opium doesn't tell on him scarcely at all, but white and black suffer a good deal, of course. There are some people that the smoke doesn't touch any more than tobacco would. At first they just doze a bit as one would fall asleep naturally, and next morning they are almost fit for work. Now, I was one of that sort when I began, but I've been at it for 5 years pretty steadily. And it's different now. There was an old aunt of mine down Agra way, and she left me a little at her death, about 60 rupees. A month secured 60 isn't much. I can recollect a time, seems hundreds and hundreds of years ago, that I was getting my 300 a month and pickings, when I was working on a big timber contract in Calcutta. I didn't stick to that work for long. The black smoke does not allow of much other business, and even though I am very little affected by it, as men go, I couldn't do a day's work now to save my life. After all, 60 rupees is what I want when old. Fung Teaching was alive. He used to draw the money for me, give me about half of it to live on. I eat very little, and the rest he kept himself. I was free of the gate at any time of the day and night, and could smoke and sleep there when I liked, so I didn't care. I know the old man made a good thing out of it, but that's no matter. Nothing matters much to me, and besides, the money always came fresh and fresh each month. There was 10 of us met at the gate when the place was first opened. Me and 2 babus from a government office somewhere in Anarkali, but they got the sack and couldn't pay. No man who has to work in the daylight can do the black smoke for any length of time straight on. A Chinaman that was Fung Teaching's nephew, a bazar woman that had got a lot of money, somehow an English loafer Mac somebody, I think, but I have forgotten, that smoked heaps, but never seemed to pay anything. They said he had saved Fung Teaching's life at some trial. Calcutta when he was a barrister. Another Eurasian like myself from Madras, a half-caste woman, and a couple of men who said they had come from the north. I think they must have been Persians or Afghans or something. There are not more than 5 of us living now, but we come regular. I don't know what happened to the babus, but the bazaar woman, she died after 6 months of the gate. And I think Feng Teaching took her bangles and nose ring for himself, but I'm not certain. The Englishman, he drank as well as smoked, and he dropped off one of the Persians got killed in a row at night by the big well near the mosque a long time ago, and the police shut up the well because they said it was full of foul air. They found him dead at the bottom of it. So you see, there is only me, the Chinaman, the half-caste woman that we call the Memsahib. She used to live with Feng Teaching, the other Eurasian. And one of the Persians, the Memsahib, looks very old now. I think she was a young woman when the gate was opened. But we are all old for the matter of that, hundreds and hundreds of years old. It is very hard to keep count of time in the gate. And besides, time doesn't matter to me. I draw my 60 rupees fresh and fresh every month. A very, very long while ago, when I used to be getting 350 rupees a month. And pickings on a big timber contract at Calcutta. I had a wife of sorts, but she's dead now. People said that I killed her by taking to the black smoke. Perhaps I did, but it's so long since that it doesn't matter sometimes. When I first came to the gate, I used to feel sorry for it. But that's all over and done with long ago. And I draw my 60 rupees fresh and fresh every month, and am quite happy, not drunk happy, you know, but always quiet, and soothed and contented. How did I take to it? It began at Calcutta. I used to try it in my own house just to see what it was like. I never went very far, but I think my wife must have died. Then anyhow I found myself here, and got to know Feng Teaching. I don't remember rightly how that came about, but he told me of the gate, and I used to go there, and somehow I have never got away from it since. Mind you, though, the gate was a respectable place in Feng Teaching's time, where you could be comfortable, and not at all like the Shandukhanas, where the niggers go. No, it was clean and quiet, and not crowded. Of course, there were others beside us, 10 and the man, but we always had a mat apiece with a wadded woolen headpiece, all covered with black and red dragons, and things just like the coffin in the corner. At the end of one's 3rd pipe, the dragons used to move about and fight. I've watched them many, and many a night through. I used to regulate my smoke that way, and now it takes a dozen pipes to make em stir. Besides, they are all torn and dirty like the mats, and old Feng Teaching is dead. He died a couple of years ago, and gave me the pipe I always use, a silver one with queer beasts crawling up and down the receiver bottle below the cup. Before that I think I used a big bamboo stem with a copper cup, a very small one, and a green jade mouthpiece. It was a little thicker than a walking stick stem and smoked sweet, very sweet. The bamboo seemed to suck up the smoke. Silver doesn't, and I've got to clean it out now. And then that's a great deal of trouble. But I smoke it for the old man's sake. He must have made a good thing out of me, but he always gave me clean mats and pillows, and the best stuff you could get anywhere. When he died, his nephew Tsinling took up the gate, and he called it the Temple of the 3 Possessions, but we old ones speak of it as the 100 Sorrows. All the same, the nephew does things very shabbily, and I think the Memsahib must help him. She lives with him, same as she used to do with the old man. The 2 let in all sorts of low people, niggers and all, and the black smoke isn't as good as it used to be. I've found burned bran in my pipe over and over again. The old man would have died if that had happened in his time. Besides, the room is never cleaned, and all the mats are torn and cut at the edges. The coffin is gone to China agging with the old man, and 2 ounces of smoke inside it, in case he should want him on the way. The Joss doesn't get so many sticks burned under his nose as he used to. That's a sign of a luck, as sure as death. He's all brown too, and no one ever attends to him. That's the Memsahib's work, I know, because when Tsinling tried to burn gilt paper before him, she said it was a waste of money, and if he kept a stick burning very slowly, the Joss wouldn't know the difference. So now we've got the sticks mixed with a lot of glue, and they take half an hour longer to burn and smell stinky, let alone the smell of the room by itself. No business can get on if they try that sort of thing. The Joss doesn't like it, I can see that. Late at night sometimes, he turns all sorts of queer colours, blue and green and red, just as he used to do when old Feng Teaching was alive, and he rolls his eyes and stamps his feet like a devil. I don't know why I don't leave the place and smoke quietly in a little room of my own in the bazaar. Most like Tsinling would kill me if I went away. Draws my 60 rupees, no, and besides, it's so much trouble, and I've grown to be very fond of the gate. It's not much to look at, not what it was in the old man's time, but I couldn't leave it. I've seen so many come in and out, and I've seen so many die here on the mats that I should be afraid of dying in the open now. I've seen some things that people would call strange enough, but nothing is strange when you're on the black smoke, except the black smoke, and if it was it wouldn't matter. Feng Teaching used to be very particular about his people, and never got in anyone who'd give trouble by dying messy and such, But the nephew isn't half so careful, he tells everywhere that he keeps a first chop house, never tries to get men in quietly and make them comfortable like Fung teaching Roman 999. That's why the gate is getting a little bit more known than it used to be among the niggers. Of course, the nephew daren't get a white, or for matter of that a mixed skin, into the place he has to keep us three of Korsim, and the Memsahib and the other Eurasian were fixtures, but he wouldn't give us credit for a pipeful, not for anything. One of these days I hope I shall die in the gate. The Persian and the Madras man are terribly shaky. Now they've got a boy to light their pipes for them. I always do that myself, most like I shall see them carried out before me. I don't think I shall ever outlive the Memsahib or Tsinling. Women last longer than men. At the Black Smoke, and Tsinling has a deal of the old man's blood in him, though he does smoke cheap stuff. The Bazar woman knew when she was going 2 days before her time, and she died on a clean mat with a nicely wadded pillow, and the old man hung up her pipe just above the joss. He was always fond of her, I fancy. But he took her bangles just the same. I should like to die like the Bazar woman, in a clean cool mat with a pipe of good stuff between my lips. When I feel I'm going I shall ask Tsinling for them, and he can draw my 60 rupees a month fresh and fresh, as long as he pleases. Then I shall lie back quiet and comfortable, and watch the black and red dragons have their last big fight together. And then, well, it doesn't matter, nothing matters much to me, only I wished Tsinling wouldn't put Bran into the Black Smoke.